The number one reason your hair is not growing and you're not achieving your length goals is because Hello, my name is Haley, the owner of LoveLeys Hair, and I'm so happy to be here to have a conversation with y'all about the importance of embracing every phase of your natural hair. I do know that we oftentimes overthink length when it comes to natural hair being beautiful and feeling confident. A big thing that I hear my clients talk about, my friends, my community, is always the length topic. Like if the hair isn't long enough, it's kind of giving, I'm not beautiful. And that is so not true. The biggest thing I've learned is that length only comes from appreciating your hair at the stage that it's in. Now, I will say this video isn't for everybody, but if you're someone who struggles with length, if you're someone who struggles with embracing your natural hair, then this video is for you. So y'all, the number one reason your hair is not growing and you're not achieving your length goals is because you don't trim your hair. So I know the community about trimming is a little bit sensitive. There has been a lot of trauma in our community when it comes to haircuts. Haircuts and trims, I know we could go on and on about that. I don't know how deep I want to go, but all the same, trimming is really what we're talking about. The process of hair cutting and trimming is similar, but when I'm talking about trimming, I'm speaking about maintaining the dead ends and cutting those off so your hair actually retains length. A lot of times people are not trimming often, so what happens is the ends are starting to split and rise up the hair shaft, which causes the hair to thin out at the ends and break, thus seeming like your hair doesn't grow, when sincerely your hair always grows. It's just not retaining length. So that is more so the issue. The only time you really know your hair is not growing is if you have a bald spot. But nonetheless, the hair is always in a growing season. I will say we can go a little deeper on the phases of the hair growth cycle, but nonetheless, the hair is in a growth experience. So if you're not seeing any length retained, then more than likely it's the issue of you not trimming often. So often can vary for person. So if you are someone who is very low maintenance and you're not doing a lot to your hair, meaning that you don't do a lot of color, you're not doing a lot of flat iron, you're not changing your style a lot, then you can trim your hair quarterly at the, minimum, quarterly at the max amount of time. So you can go sooner than quarterly, but really you don't want to go beyond quarterly, which is every 3 months. So trimming your hair quarterly is important because it prevents those little splits from becoming big splits, thus retaining length. I like to think of it as a checkup. Like you're going to your doctor and you're checking up to see if everything's good and to catch something before it becomes a bigger issue. A lot of times when people do not get their trims often, the little trim turns into a big chop. And then that's when people get upset, like, I went for a trim and she cut all my hair off. Well, that probably could have been because you hadn't been to a salon in over a year. And with that in mind, your ends have gotten a lot longer in their breakage. And honestly, it's the stylist's fault for not really communicating if you didn't know that was about to happen. My biggest thing is always getting consent for my clients before we start cutting. But as long as we get consent, we're cutting what needs to be cut. If you're not okay with it, that's okay. I just always let my client know if you don't trim those ends, it's very likely your hair will continue to break off and you'll still have the issue with retaining length. All right. And also in addition to that, if you're someone who is coloring often, flat ironing your hair a lot and changing your hairstyles pretty often, when I say often, I mean like once a week, you're someone who probably should be trimming anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. That means 1 to 2 months, depending on your level of damage and how your hair is consistently breaking. All right. So moving along, another reason that you're probably not retaining length and your hair is not growing past a certain point is because your hair is dry. It is dehydrated. And a lot of times you don't know why your hair is just not cooperating and not holding a style, when really it's because your hair is severely dehydrated, which is causing it to snap and break off. I like to think of your hair as like a plant. So if you water it, you get so much of a better result than if you don't. So water meaning shampooing weekly, water meaning Drink your water. Water meaning keeping the hair hydrated with water-based products. That on its own will change the way your hair holds. Products, the way it lasts and the way it hangs. So if your hair is hydrated, it tends to drop and it tends to move because it has weight. If your hair is dehydrated, it tends to be really stiff. It tends to feel more like straw, or just more of a rough texture, because there's no water in there to lubricate it, to make it more limber and more bouncy, and also to make it sink down and receive product well. So I will say, if you have layers of buildup on your hair, you're not going to get the best version of, first off, your products working, but also seeing your length, because the products are not getting into your hair. It's only sitting on top. And if it's only sitting on top, your hair will not really penetrate and experience that drop of length that I know you want to see, okay? And last but certainly not least, to the third reason that you are more than likely not being able to experience length in your styles. And this one is a little bit touchy. Everyone's hair grows differently. So one thing is, I think sometimes we compare length on one person versus ours. Everyone has a different growth cycle. Everyone's hair grows at a different capacity, and some people have hair privilege. So hair privilege, as I coined it, is when you can do nothing right and your hair continues to grow very long. So I like to liken that to that person who can eat whatever they want and they still have abs. Very similar, very similar. It's those people, and I know those people get on our nerves, because if we eat one wrong thing, we got a gut and we got to lose 10 pounds. Where some people, they can eat whatever they want. Same thing. Some people can do whatever they want to their hair and it continues to grow. It continues to experience length, and you're like, how? Like, I can't get that length. Well, I will say that person might have certain genetics and certain internal things within their body that makes their hair show up longer consistently without breaking. Where some people like me, when it comes to what I eat and it shows up, some people, we have to do everything right for our hair to maintain length. That means doing our proper hydration, doing our proper treatments, doing our proper trims, and also being gentle in how we style it with less mechanical damage, which means you're not being rough with your hair with detangling and ripping out hair strands. If you're doing everything right, then you might maintain your length. Those people are a little bit less likely to see as much length because their hair is a lot more prone to breaking, more prone to being fragile. So that means length retention might be a little bit harder for you. If you're one of those unprivileged people like myself, you have to do a lot of effort in maintaining the health of your hair for you to actually see length retained, okay? So don't get discouraged if someone's hair seems to grow faster than yours. Some people just have different genetics, thus have a different growth pattern with their hair. So your biggest way to make sure you get the best version of length for you is going to be trimming often, keeping your hair hydrated, and also making sure you treat your hair based off of what you're experiencing, so your hair is in its best state and not in a fragile, broken, or basically damaged state. We don't want that, okay? So if you found this video helpful, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and share it with a friend. And also make sure you leave a comment below if there's something you would want me to elaborate on, because I wanted to make sure this video wasn't crazy long. I wanted to make sure I went over enough to make you understand why your hair might not be growing, but also make sure we don't make this, go all over the place, because I can talk about hair, okay? So yeah, make sure you subscribe. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.